Greetings from Texas, all you folks up there in Michigan. I asked John if I could take a minute and just make a quick video for you because I know that today is your last meeting in that location. We're almost 2 years into when the church started, and I've been walking through that process with John really almost that entire 2 years. Just a month or so after you folks started meeting is when John and I connected. And I want to say that it's been a blessing for me because from the very beginning, there was a real passion that was very obvious to me from John and from the church family there about being a hospital church and being a place that where broken people can really get help, hope, and healing, and where people can be honest about the things that are going on in their lives. And I've watched as you've done that. I've heard reports. I've met people and heard their testimonies, and it's been tremendously encouraging to me. But I know it hasn't been easy. Starting a church is never easy. I did that in 1984, January of 1984, 39 years ago. And I remember those early years, how much of a struggle it was. Everything is a challenge when you're in that beginning phase. And one of those challenges for churches nowadays is even worse than it was when I did this almost 40 years ago, is location of where you're going to meet. Because it's gotten expensive, and you folks were in a situation where you couldn't meet until noon, and timing of meeting is also important. And I remember telling John in the beginning, John, people will do that for a while, but over the long term, you're going to have to get into a time frame where folks can fit it better into their lives. Traditionally, we understand you go to church on Sunday morning and then you leave and you have the afternoon and the evening to rest and with family. And you guys have been fighting an uphill battle with that time, but it's just been a struggle to find a way to get past that. And when this opportunity opened up with this other church, John and I discussed it. I prayed with him about it. I advised him the best I could. And I just feel like that this is a door that the Lord is opening up for you. But I also know that every opportunity brings with it challenge, and change itself is a challenge. I mean, we don't like change. We get into our routines, and for whatever reason, we might not even know why we don't like a particular change, but it just kind of messes up the routine. And I understand that. But I do also know that change always brings with it great opportunity. I can remember when we transitioned from after our first 8 years, and we started in 1984, and in 1992 is when we made the decision to transition into a place of help, hope, and healing. And I began to teach about that and began to talk about that. And it's really difficult to see how people would argue with being a church where hurting people could get healing. But there were some of our people that did argue with it. And as a matter of fact, they left the church over it. And I would ask them, well, what is it about this that you don't want to be a part of? And they said, well, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. And that was about the most that most of them could give me about why they weren't going to stay with us through that transition. And of course, we went ahead and made the transition. That was over 30 years ago. And God has done some great things. And one of the things that I've been blessed with through the years is to have so many of those people come back and say, James, we just didn't understand at the time, and we just couldn't wrap ourselves around it, and we're so thankful to see what God has done. And those people, one of the things that always saddens me about that is that they missed the opportunity to be a part of that because they couldn't negotiate that change. Didn't mean they're bad people. They're wonderful people. They were good people. But because they just couldn't figure out how to negotiate that change, they missed out on a great opportunity of the Lord. And I don't know what the future holds for you guys as a church. I honestly don't. Only the Lord knows that. But I do know that this change is necessary and the timing is right for it. And I do believe that the ministry of your church is so vital for your community. There's not another church up there that has that passion and has that heart. And that's why I was so excited about becoming involved with you and helping John and just standing in the background trying to mentor this process, because I believe you're necessary. I believe God's already done great things in you. And there's so much more to come. The people that you're going to begin meeting with, they're good folks. They're going to be people that need some of the things that you've learned. They're going to be people that are going to be able to be impacted by the experiences that you've already had with one another as you've really gotten honest and started the healing process. So here's my encouragement to you. You may not like this idea. You may not feel comfortable with it. You may not even be able to know why you don't. But I would encourage you to give God a chance. Give this a chance. Give it a chance to, a couple of months and just see if something changes and you begin to see, you know what, there really is a purpose in this and I want to be a part of that. I did a funeral today for a woman that was one of the instrumental people when we made the transition to a hospital church. She came to us actually after we'd already made the transition. I don't even know how she found us, but she just walked in our door one day, and her name was Joyce. And from day one, Joyce was one of those people that wanted to help others. And without her even really knowing it, she mentored me in how to minister to survivors of sexual abuse, because she herself was a survivor of sexual abuse, had experienced great healing, and had a passion for working with women. And so when we started into that, Joyce was one of those that came alongside of me and just really supported me greatly. And she was with us for about 10 years before she moved away to be closer to her grandkids. And she died today, and the family asked me to come back and celebrate her life with them. And I told them at that time, I said, as a pastor, you come across three different types of people typically. You come across some people that they're basically going to just attend, and they're going to sit and they're going to soak. And that's pretty much all they're going to do. And then you come across other people that they're going to come and they're going to get involved, and they're going to do Bible study, and they're going to do, the activities of the church, and that's good. But then the third type of people are like Joyce. They're the ones that come and immediately they say, how can I make an impact? How can I help what this church is doing to promote the gospel of Jesus Christ and to help people know him, but then also mature in him? And she was one of those people, and she stayed and she stayed and she stayed. And she was that person that woman that I always knew. If another one needed help, Joyce would be the one that I would call, and Joyce would rally the troops, and she would bring those women together to rally around that woman. And it was such a blessing and privilege for me today to stand before the family and friends and just celebrate the life of Christ in this woman that didn't come and soak. She didn't come and just get involved. She came and put her hand to the plow of the ministry. And I pray that some of you will give this an opportunity. You'll put your hand to the plow and just see what God wants to do. And if after a few months this doesn't work for you, then maybe God's got something else for you. But give it an opportunity, and give John, your pastor, an opportunity to lead you into this next phase. And I'm going to be praying with you that as you do this, that his purpose and will is going to become very, very clear. So God bless you today on this last day. And I will be praying for you next week as you meet in that new facility, that new location with that other group of people, and just see what God is going to do. God bless you guys. I love you.